Steve Spiro, you're a mentor, you're a consultant, you're a business owner, but most importantly, you're a host of your own show and you're also a master connector.
Steve Spiro is one of my idols, and I love listening to everything that he does. He's such a dynamic individual.
Some of the topics I really enjoy speaking on is how to really connect, whether it be in person or through social media. I love to lead with my weaknesses. I lead with, my vulnerabilities. It's fine because I'm okay with who I am. Number two is how to go from being inward focused, self-focused, into others focused. Being willing to give and go out there and look to serve. That will attract the right things. Another one is on leveraging LinkedIn to really grow your business. You could reach a lot more people. You could broadcast a message to people that actually consented to want to know you. And then lastly, overcoming big obstacles.
I love sharing. I was a shy, introverted kid, picked on, bullied, learning disabled, dyslexic, really in a dark place. I was really in a box, in a shell, and I've been able to break out of that box. And so I love being able to inspire people and really help them. So the Master Connector was born.
The world is my networking event, right? I meet people all the time. My goal is to meet 3 strangers every single day.
Steve is open to meeting you. You should set up a face-to-face with Steve. One little conversation can really change your life. Welcome, LinkedIn. We are on here. I'm so excited to be on this show today. We have Sean Douglas with you. We just got off, Steve and I, doing a show with Oscar and Phil, live Focus on You with Phil and Oscar. Definitely check that out. Phil is in the comments now. Make sure you're connecting with him. As always, all my guests, all of our viewers, we love you. We really enjoy you being a part of the show. So make sure you're networking in the comments. We are live right now, but if you're watching this on the replay, #replay, get those comments in here. I'm going to throw this over to my man, Steve, the Master Connector, and he's going to get us jumping off on the topic of living your brand today.
Absolutely. What's going on, friends? Steve coming at you here, the Master Connector coming at you live and direct here. So who do you think you are? So I'm going to give a quote here from Seth Godin. He says, be genuine, be remarkable, be worth connecting with. So are you true to your brand? Do you live your brand? These are some questions we're going to kind of contemplate today as we go through our show today. Is your message consistent? And most importantly, this is big. Are you the same in the dark as you are in the public eye, out there in social media, wherever it is? So if you are ready for my man Cameron, my amazing co-host and the Wizard of Oz who makes the magic happen behind the curtain here, if you're ready to have Cameron introduced, I'd like you to type in right now in the chat, right in the comments, right in #GO, G-O. Put it in right now because we want you to be participating. And so I'll turn it over to you, Cameron, sir. Ready to go, sir.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to introduce Sean Douglas. I'm going to throw him on the screen here. Sean Douglas is a U.S. Air Force veteran, TEDx speaker, master resilience implementer, and suicide awareness trainer, business positioning strategist, international podcast host of the Create, Launch, Monetize podcast, and best-selling author. He's a suicide survivor who has hit rock bottom. He believes that you were created for a purpose. And once you unlock your true potential, you will elevate your life, which is why he founded the Success Corps. Sean works with entrepreneurs, speakers, and business owners to improve their positioning in the market, increasing profitability while decreasing anxiety and stress so their business thrives. Please welcome to the show the inspiring and the dynamic, the one and only Sean Douglas.
Man, I'm happy to be here. Cameron, I'm going to hire you to come on the road with me and just introduce me to every event I speak at. That was incredible.
I'm available, brother. I am absolutely available. Just let me know.
Almost every guest wants to take him away from me, and you can't have him. He's mine.
Listen to the jealousy here. Now we know where the wife is. All right, here we go. Sean, Steve, get us started here on this topic.
Absolutely.
Live your brand.
Sean, you know how much we appreciate you serving. You're serving our country. Big, obviously, supporters, Cameron and I, and a lot of our community on the men and women that serve our country. Mm-hmm. But, we want to hear a little bit about your story. And so if you're ready, we want you to type in #story right now, as we're going to hear a little bit of Sean's story. But can you tell us, Sean, about your rock bottom and how that has influenced your brand? Please, sir.
Yeah, it all stems from not being given the tools to become resilient, and also hard deployments that I've been on. And it's not just me, it affects a lot of different active duty servicemen and women, Guard and reservists. So you come off of a deployment and you have to reintegrate back into your life. If you have a spouse and kids, then they've been running the house since you've been gone. You come back in, you want to just jump in and take charge and lead because that's what you've been doing throughout the deployment, but it doesn't work that way. They've already got a routine without you. It's hard to think that life has moved on without you. And that was especially tough when not all of you come back from a deployment. My situation in general, I was already struggling with a couple things anyways, mentally and emotionally. And so in 2004, I built my first company. It was an entertainment company, and we produced conferences and events. We did, back in the day, foam parties were the thing, right? With the glow sticks and the raves so that's what we would do. We'd do wedding receptions and different banquets and awards shows, but we were the AV guys, and we were creating promo videos and sound, and we were just making events rock star ish. So I created a rock star lifestyle for myself, got into drinking, spending money like crazy, trying to fill a void that I felt that I wasn't getting anywhere else. So lots of women, lots of money, house, cars. I mean, everything that, you want to live a rock star lifestyle. All of the people taking selfies on Facebook in front of private jets that are not theirs, and renting Lamborghinis and taking pictures in front of that. That's for real what I was doing. It was my stuff. And that's what I was doing. It was like, look at me, look at me, look at me, because I thought that's what people wanted. And then I got into alcohol, and I got back from a deployment, and it was really bad. So after I was abusing alcohol, and wife and kids were not having it, they were just like, I'm done with this lifestyle that you're trying to live, or someone that you're trying to be, someone you're not. It changed me. And so she left, and then I showed up to work drunk for a movement, and they said, okay, you're not doing this. You can't show up to duty drunk, so we're going to kick you out of the military. So I was losing my military career. I was losing my family, and I just drank more because that's the only coping mechanism I ever had, until December of 2008. I put a gun in my mouth, and I wanted to end it. Like, I was done. I was just like, I hurt everybody that I come in contact with. And so people came to the house and to check, because I had checked into work for like 2-3 days, and they came and found me sitting on my floor in my room. And it was that moment that I was like, okay, I'm going to ready myself, and I'm going to do this. And they stopped me, and they got me the help that I needed through spiritually, through chaplains. They got me help mentally through, the mental health clinic on base. They got me emotional support, where I needed it. And it wasn't that I didn't have a purpose. It wasn't that I didn't feel like my life was worthy. It wasn't any of that stuff. It just stemmed from, I just wasn't fulfilled. I had my purpose. I was serving the military. I had a business, but it wasn't fulfilling. I didn't find my cause. I didn't take up my flag. I didn't wake up in the morning excited, to put the uniform on. That was exciting. And I loved being in the military, and I loved going to work. But it wasn't like, when you come back from a deployment, it's like, where's the excitement? Where's the high risk? Then you start becoming like an adrenaline junkie, and then I don't know, it's intoxicating. It's like its own drug.
Well, you're used to living a whole nother life, right?
Yeah.
It's a level of compartmentalization that many people will never experience, right? But you have to put your other life on complete hold while you go and live for other people. And I don't know, for anybody that goes to work and goes home, you get a little taste of it, but not that complete separation, and certainly not the adrenaline highs of going through warfare. Right.
Right. It's like police, fire, New York, Wall Street, brokers, right? Anything that's like high pace, like NASCAR drivers, like anything that's just fast paced, go, 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 need for speed. I mean, it's just like that high can just be so intoxicating that when you don't get it, you feel like something's missing. There's a gap, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it was for me. Anytime I got a chance to go on a deployment, I'm like, let's go. I'm ready to go. Let's go. I'll lay my life on the line. Let's go. And it wasn't like a God complex or anything like that. It was just like, I don't know. It was like the rush. It was like, okay, I'm going to go do something. Cause it's not just enough to go wear a uniform and then sit behind a desk. Like, you're not doing anything in my eyes.
Yeah.
But as an aircraft mechanic, and I work security forces in the Air Force. So it was just, I mean, let's go drop these bombs. Like, let's go kill bad guys. Like, hunting season's open. Like, let's go. Like, I want to go. And then they're like, hey, we have a tactical unit going outside the wire. Outside the wire is when you go outside the confines of the FOB that you're at, the forward operating base. And so wherever we were, whether it be Afghanistan, like I was in Iraq in 2003 for the liberation. And I think that's where it started, kind of like it stemmed from, because the culture in the military is drinking anyways. But there's been a couple opportunities where you go outside the wire with a tactical unit. I'm like, let's go. I want to go. I want to be there. I want to go. I want to kick in doors. Like, I want to go. And I do it to join the Army or whatever, the Marines, like kicking in. Like, I just wanted to go. I wanted to be a part of it. I don't want to just be stuck on the base. And we did that. And then I took a job in a combat unit. And because of everything that we did inside this combat unit and all the places we went to, and I mean, I remember getting off of one plane with a set of orders and onto another plane to go back out. Like literally landed, walked across the field, and then got on another plane and was gone.
Wow.
And I just loved it. I loved the excitement. I loved traveling. I loved everything that we were doing, and we were doing something bigger than ourselves, and it was dangerous and it was exciting. And then you come home and you're like, send me back.
Yeah. And it's tough. Like, I mean, and then you're dealing with stuff around, if you got business stuff, whether it's just a job or you're dealing with like bills, and after experiencing those extreme highs, dealing with like, oh, I got to go pay a bill, or I got to wait till the next check to pay something, can be, I mean, I know for myself, without dealing with a lot of those highs that you're talking about, it's just, it can be overwhelming. It can be completely overwhelming on the other side of it, because you're just like, time is slipping by. I got to wait on this. I got to wait on that. And it's not going where I want it to go. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, whatever I view my position in the world to be, right, in terms of taking care of people, and it can start to drown you. So talk to us after you hit this rock bottom. Thankfully, there was people there for you, and people, I forget what's the new suicide hotline. I always like to bring this up when we sort of get into any kind of conversation. 988 is the suicide crisis lifeline. So you can dial 988 if you need help, if you're having those feelings right now. And luckily there was people there for you, because sometimes there isn't, right? And so that's correct. That's extremely, extremely, just challenging when people don't have people to back you up. And thankfully you did. So you hit this rock bottom moment. What sort of pushes you over the line? You're obviously, 365, right? Or 180 from where you were in that moment. You're helping other people. You're teaching people, other people, how to get to success. Talk to us about that transition. What got you there?
There was an officer that led me His name is Captain Shepard. And Captain Shepard was one of the greatest leaders that I had ever had the privilege of serving with. He went out on the road with us a lot. He was a no excuses, no BS, no fluff kind of guy. He gave it to you straight. If he thought you sucked, he would tell you, like, you suck. Like, there was no filter on this guy, and we loved him. And he told me, he said, man, if you can make a transition, if you can make a turnaround, if you can just get out of your own way and shut up for 5 minutes, you would be an amazing leader. Like, wow. Okay. I'm not sure how to take that. Okay. So I'm talking to chaplains and I'm doing the mental health thing. I go to ADAP, which is Alcohol and Drug Abuse Prevention and Treatment. And I go there and I said, okay, I'm just going to figure this thing out. And growing up Roman Catholic, we never had a relationship with the church, or never had a relationship with like God or Jesus or any of that stuff. It was like, you go to church or you go to hell. Like that's pretty much what my childhood was. Right. So, I got into really intuitive conversations with chaplains, got into really intelligent conversations with other people, started reading a book, my first professional development book. My mom got me it. It was The Power of Positivity by Norman Vincent Peale. If you haven't read that book, wow.
Great book.
That book is amazing.
Thinking, right? Oh, yeah.
And that book was the catalyst. That book taught me to look at every single situation as positive, whether it be selfish or not. If you get into a firefight outside the wire in the military, you think anybody, anything, that, wow, I'm still alive. That's a positive thing. I'm still alive. A bulk of our people are still alive, or all of our people are still alive, like whatever. People are like, well, I can't be alive because my person or whatever got killed. Like, we get the survivor's guilt. But what I learned in The Power of Positivity is that you hunt the good stuff in every single situation, and then you train your brain to find the positivities in everything. I was not like that. I was find the negative in everything, and I was giving into the way that my brain was wired. Your brain is wired for defense. Your brain is wired for negativity. It will find the path of least resistance and make you play it safe every single time. You have to take risks, and you have to go outside the wire sometimes, metaphorically, physically. You have to go outside the wire, have to get out of your comfort zone. And that's what I learned. And the captain said, you need to go be a drill instructor and you need to tell your story. Like, I don't know. I mean, 3 months after all this goes down, he goes, you're amazing. People love working with you. You're a positive person. You're a positive influence. Just you have to be a drill instructor. Like, no way. My drill instructor like almost murdered us in basic. I felt like he was going to kill us in our sleep. Like, no. He's like, no.
Sounds like an oxymoron, a positive drill instructor.
Right.
Like Jumbo Shrimp and Biggie Smalls. It sounds like an oxymoron,
right.
You know?
Well, here's what he says, right? He goes, you can be the change. You know, these big, scary drill instructors, like, you can still do that, but then you can mentor and lead, and you can do what you know is right in that setting. Instead of just being this screaming, crazy maniac, be the leader and lead people. Like, okay.
Love that.
All right. Okay. So I applied for it, got recommendations from the colonel, from the captain, from the chief, from my supervisors, and I became a drill instructor. And for those 4 years, it was the greatest 4 years of my life. I learned how to teach, how to train, how to mentor, how to coach, how to live with empathy, which I never really had before. I never really had empathy. You know, somebody would tell me their problems. I'm like, everybody's got problems. You know, like, that was me. Like, I didn't care about your problems because I got my own problems. You know, I don't got time for yours.
The best learning that I ever had was when I was the guy teaching. You know, you're a drill instructor, right? You're instructing, you're teaching. I mean, obviously, some of it's a little bit. I'm sure there's teaching involved. I can't speak to it because I never did it. But when I was an instructor, you know, in the martial arts, I learned the most when I had to teach people, because then you really had to understand it. You had to understand people. You understand what they're going through and all that. Yep. So it's great stuff.
100%. And you've got 50 trainees that you're in charge of, and they got to get to appointments, and they got to get this, and they got they have their own letters that they're getting, and family things are going on. It was just it's an amazing transformation and an amazing learning experience. And so I did that from 09 to 13. And then in 2013, we left Lackland Air Force Base in Texas, and I went to North Carolina, where I spent the last 8 years. And it's so crazy how this happens. And I'll explain this really, really fast. Once I get to North Carolina, they hear about me over there, that I'm coming in and what I've done in basic training. And I've pushed, they have like warrior flights and basic training and beast flight. They have all these like different like flight like titles. And every single flight that I've ever had, except for one, I pushed like 10 flights, all won awards, all of them. Most people push flights don't get an award. Like you just don't get it. Like you just graduate flight and whatever. We were one flight had honor flight, warrior flight, beast flight, and excellence. I mean, 4 awards out of like the 6 that there are. We won them. I mean, it's just, I learned that you lead people. You don't lead an organization. You don't lead a business. You don't lead 4 walls and a roof. You lead people.
There's the mic drop numbers. Right there, man. Right there, right?
People lead people. And people make numbers. If you want to increase your stats, if you want to increase your productivity, if you want to increase any KPI, check your leaders. If they're leading an organization, they're failing as a leader. If they're leading people, the organization by default, and because that's the way it is, by default, and just by people being led by an amazing positive leader, they will want to work harder for that leader. Right?
Love it.
So there's a quote that I used to use by Sun Tzu that says, regard your soldiers as your children, and they will follow you into the deepest valleys. Look on them as your only begotten son, and they will follow you even unto death.
That's from the Art of War?
Art of War, yep. If Great you book. Treat your people in business, at your job, if you treat them like family, and not like crazy families, like Christmas dinners and things if you treat them like your children, if you treat them with love and respect and empathy and you're there for them and you're caring and just everything that you would want from somebody, they will follow you even unto death, metaphorically. They will fight for you. They will have your back. They will be loyal. And people couldn't understand that about my flights. They're like, how do you get them to do the things? I was like, read this quote. That's all I got. Just read this quote. And I just give them the quote. Read the quote. So I become a resilience trainer in 2014, master resilience trainer for the military, teaching mental, physical, social, and spiritual skills. Then I become a suicide awareness trainer. I ran that program from 2015 to 2019. 2016, I write my first book. 2017, I become a TEDx speaker and I launched my radio show. 2018, I'm getting booked all over the place and still do. I get booked all over the place, especially in September because it's Suicide Awareness Month. I get booked everywhere. And then I start 2 more podcasts last year in 2021 and one this year. And it all stemmed from 2008. I want you to think about this. 2008, I'm at my lowest moment. Someone saves me. Now I have a story. I then go and become a drill instructor to teach, learn, coach, train. I learn how to tell my story. In 2013, 14, 15, I started building the platform to tell my story. So you have to have a story. You have to have a way to tell the story, and you have to have a platform to tell that story on. And if I look back all the way to 2008, everything had to happen the way that it happened. It seems slow, but if you look back to 2008, I had to go through that dark night of the soul moment. I then had to learn how to tell it. I then had to build a platform to tell it on. And then here we are today.
We say it all the time, right? It's a cliche, right? Your test is your testimony, right? Your mess is your message, right? It's exactly what it is. And, I can relate so much because, I didn't have the same challenges you had. Obviously, my probably complete opposite version of you, right? And I know you mentioned earlier in your story, which, by the way, amazing story. I think you've got our viewers captivated.
Thank you.
But what happened for me is, in my own way, you kind of hid behind this, what'd you call it, bowler lifestyle or rock star lifestyle,
Rockstar
right?
lifestyle, man.
And that's how you hid. I hid by being busy, right? That was my form of just protecting me from anyone penetrating and getting to see how wounded I was, right? But we all have our stuff that we go through. But that stuff, eventually, when you could really now lead with it, which is what you're doing now, and in telling people your story, you have the ability to just inspire people and really make a difference in this world. It's amazing. Just for sake of time, we do want to speak a little bit about the brand piece of this, because I know Cameron was kind of prompted me. We want to get into this section. So we're going to ask our viewers to put in the word #learn, because we want to learn from you in terms of how did it shift to brand quickly? Because we got like 5 more questions. So we only did cover the first, right? Which is awesome. But so brand, what is brand? How did you shift to brand? Who the brand you are today?
Yeah.
This show is about live your brand, right?
Right.
And then what does that brand mean to you is really the part we want to learn about.
Yeah. So brand is your reputation. That's it. Brand is your reputation. And in the military, you have core values. So Air Force core values are integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all you do. These are the fundamentals that we live by as Air Force airmen. Army has theirs, Marine has theirs, Navy has theirs, Space Force has theirs, Guard and Reserve has theirs. It's your core values. It's everything that you are willing to do inside of your business company, whatever, to create an amazing culture of brand. And we're so over-rotated on brand. We're so like, build your brand, build your brand. All it is a set of reputation and core values. That's literally all it is. It's what you stand for. It's your cause. Everybody has a mission. But what is your cause? It's what you're willing to die for. You pick the hill, you die on that hill. That's your cause. That's your brand.
Nobody better to equipped to speak about dying for a cause than an airman like you, sir. Someone who served our country and put your life on the line. So that's powerful for sure. So we want to kind of move into another topic. Thank you for that. And we want our viewers to put in right now in the #ThoughtLeader, because we want to hear, how did you go from that rock bottom to this confident thought leader that you are today? What was that transition for you?
It was small wins. It's the power of positivity. I'm equipped with resilient skills that I've been teaching for almost the last decade. We started teaching them in basic training around this time, 2011, 2012. We started teaching like resilient skills. And then the Air Force, 2013, 14, 15 was really big on this resilience principle. That was it. The power of positivity. When you become a positive person, positive things happen to you. If you're a negative person, then negativity happens. So Tony Robbins said it best: what you focus on expands, and where focus goes, energy flows. If you're focusing on the negatives, the energy reciprocated back from the universe is all negative. If you focus on the positives, then the energy reciprocated back is positive. That's it. I mean, life isn't complicated.
It's not complicated. And I know that sometimes people think when they hear that, they think it's kind of this woo-woo thing, but it's not. I mean, think about it, right? I mean, I heard it said, I think it was on The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. He said, we when we buy a car, or we're about to buy a car, all of a sudden, magically, that exact model shows up everywhere. It's not some magical thing. It's not some woo-woo thing. We're just conscious about it. And because we're conscious about it, we're much more aware of it. And we're going to sort of attract to it, or things are going to be attracted to us to it, because we're much more aware.
Correct.
So I absolutely agree with that for sure. Yeah, that's great.
Well said.
So what I want to ask our viewers to type in now the word help, #help. And we want to talk about, what is the most helpful piece of advice that you can offer business people to becoming more marketable, right? I mean, this is kind of tactical now, right? And I know we were very much big picture. So what could they be to be more marketable? What kind of advice? you offer?
Become a category designer.
Okay.
That's it.
Continue.
That's all you got to do. That's it.
Category designer.
Become a category designer. If you are a CEO, sole proprietor, if you are the owner of a business, if you're one in and all done, or you have 5 or 10 or 20,000 employees, doesn't matter. Become a category designer and you win. That's what everybody should focus on.
Can you give us just a couple quick examples? Because I
Yeah,
can think of a
thank
couple
you,
people that are category designers, but just so people get a sense of what you're putting down there. Who's a category designer in your mind?
Yeah, a category designer is someone that does something different. They change the way things are and they operate in the way things are now because they changed it rather than the way that they used to be. The one statement that kills an organization, especially in the military, well, that's just the way we've always done it. Well, then it's time to change. If you don't like something, change it. Change it. You have the power to change anything.
I gotta laugh on that whole, it's just the way it's done. And maybe some of the viewers have heard me talk about this, but I remember hearing this story about this family. They were having a big family dinner, and it was the granddaughter, I think great granddaughter. She was like 18, 19. She wanted to prepare a meal for the entire family, and there were 4 generations, right? Her mom, the grandma, and the great grandma, and it was like some famous pot roast meal, and so she brings the meal out, the pot roast out, and all the sides and all that, and everyone's enjoying the meal. And one of the guests of this, family event says, "Can I ask a question? So I noticed when you brought out the pot roast, the ends were chopped. Now, is that because it creates like, extra, I don't know, like the juices can flow better or whatever?" And she's like, "I don't know. I mean, that's the way mom makes it. Hey, mom, why do we cut the sides?" And she's like, "I don't know. Grandma, why do we cut the sides?" And goes all the way to great grandma. And grandma says, "Well, back in the day during the Depression era, the stove was really tiny. The pot had to go into the stove was small and the only one that would fit. So we'd have to chop the pot roast to fit in the pot to go in the stove." And it's just so funny how we, it's these things that we do just because somebody did it before us, not because it makes sense to do it,
Correct.
It's crazy.
There's a lot of research on that, actually. You can watch videos where there's 4 people sitting in an office building and a bell rings, and then the 4 people stand up and they switch out the 4 people and none of them know why. The 4 original people know why. Or like this. So this is an actual research study where they put monkeys in a cage, and when they went for the bananas, they would shock the cage and it would scare them away from the bananas. Yeah. Then they pulled one out and then they put another one in, and he went for the bananas and the monkeys grabbed him back and wouldn't let him touch the bananas. Then they traded out another one and the new monkey came in, and they kept rotating the monkeys out to where you had 4 new monkeys and none of them went for the bananas and nobody knew why.
That's crazy.
The other 3, by the time the 4th new one was in there, the other 3 monkeys just pulled that one back and wouldn't let them touch the bananas, and they never even knew why. They never got shocked. It was the other people in front of them. It was their ancestors, right? Like you with the grandma and the great grandma.
Yeah.
That did that, and it just trickles on down.
And it's good, right? Like, cause you're like, you don't want to step on a landmine. So you want to listen to people. You want to listen to somebody shouting danger. And so it can be complicated to figure out when's the moment that I test it and when's the moment that it's not a good idea to, right? It's a complicated thing. Like we're wired for safety, right? I think you said that before, right? We're wired for defense. So, we understand that, right? I've seen them in the comments, copycats, copy monkeys.
Copy monkeys.
Listen, this is great. Steve, let's get into the last bit here.
Yeah, the last question we want to, because we're the Master Connector show, right? So we want to talk about, how do you suggest that people grow their network and community, how they connect? So let's #connect if you're ready. Community, #connect, and just give us some thoughts on how you can suggest people to grow their community and grow their network. And then at the end of that, if you want to just tell people how they could best connect with you.
I love this. It's part of my 3-question building a community strategy. So number 1, what are you willing to do more of than anybody else? You willing to give more value, spend more time? What are you willing to give more of than anybody else? Number two, what are you willing to do differently? Category designers, and I got to plug Christopher Lockhead, great man, the godfather of category design. He's always teaching me, what are you willing to do differently? When you have an idea, how will you look at it from a different perspective? So what are you willing to do differently? Your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs drive all reactions and all decisions. Your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. What are you willing to change? What are you willing to do differently? And then the third thing is, how will you connect? And when I think about connecting, it's connecting on being a master connector. So if somebody comes to me and says, man, I really need to build my community and build better connections, I say, talk to Steve. He's the master connector. He can get you in touch with whoever you need. Or if somebody's like, hey, I need a thought leader who is in the mental health space, who wants to come on a podcast, I'm like, Steve, well, that's what I'm doing. I'm connecting Steve to, right. And it just goes down the line. So become a master connector. Get to know everybody in your network, get to know everybody, have them in your phone, build a master connector community where you can say, who do I need to connect you with? And who do you want to be connected with? Then you can build a list. And then if somebody says, hey, do you know a guy who's a really good connector and really kind of brings people together? Let me look at my list. Oh, look at that. Steve Spiro. Let's go. I'll connect you with Steve. And right. So just build a connections list. And if somebody needs an electrician, somebody needs this, and be just a referral Jedi master.
Love it.
And just refer people and connect people and just facilitate that. And then what do you become known as? What category have you designed? You now have become a master connector.
Yeah, I love that. And Steve is definitely a Jedi master when it comes to referring people to each other. Incredible. Actually, I just want to say, Sean, really impactful story. We appreciate you so much for living that. So many people, I think, are, and I definitely experiencing it, having done 370 plus episodes of BizDev Live.
Yeah.
Even people that are quote unquote speakers can sometimes really have a tough time sharing themselves and sharing their story. So I just wanted to say how deeply we appreciate you sharing.
And we've had other people.
It's taken a lot of years.
Yeah. We've had people that are military folks, and sometimes they're a little closed-lipped about wanting to share because maybe it's painful or maybe it is. Sometimes it's top secret if you're SEAL or whatever. But thank you for sharing and giving us a glimpse of the good, the bad, and the ugly of your life, right? But the good news is today it's a blessing to many, and we appreciate you. So I just want to recap. Need to
hear it though. If you have the understanding that you're not the only one, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I feel so bad about what happened to me, and I don't want to talk about it, and because the fear of judgment. That's all it is. It's just a fear of judgment. People are going to think less of me, or people's going to, I don't want them to know that I went through that. Like it's shameful, right?
That's it.
As soon as you get past the shame, and as soon as you understand that you're not the only one going through that. I've met so many people in my same exact circumstance. They went on a deployment. Not everybody came back. It's hard for them. They start drinking and life falls apart.
And it loses the power that it has over you, right? The shame piece of it, right? So I was sexually abused as a child. And so when you're able to talk about it, and it's not what I start every conversation with. It's not what I live my life about, right? It's not what I wear on my sleeve. But at the same time, when it comes up, when there's a reason to bring it up, I bring it up because if I don't, it has another kind of power over me, right? It's a shame piece. And for me, I'm a father, I have kids, I live around the challenges and potentially the stigma that kind of stuff is, and I don't want to let it have that power. First, I want to have it out there so it doesn't happen to my children, right? I want to make sure that people are looking out for things and understanding the signs that can come so that they can make sure that doesn't happen to their children, that doesn't happen to my children. And so we take that power away from it by speaking. And then just like you're saying, I think this is the most powerful part of speaking it. We allow other people to know that they're not the only one going through this. And if you're
one of the things
they're not the only one.
Yeah. I think Cameron knows we were on a show earlier today, and I was talking about a book called Captivate by Vanessa Van Edwards, a great book. And she mentions in the book that when you lead with vulnerability and you tell people of something that's a shortcoming of yourself, statistically, people like you more. So it just makes you more relatable when you could share some of those things, those weaknesses about yourself.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you doing that. We are at the end of the show.
Okay.
So I want to say what what I got from that last piece was more, different, connect, right? Do more, connect, do different stuff, and then connect, more, be a beast in connecting. So that's what I got from your piece, just to recap it. But so please tell our audience real quick, and then we're going to close out with a crush it shout out. But tell the audience, the viewers, our community, what we can, how they could best connect with you, please.
Yeah. My website is The Success Corps, CORPS, like Marine Corps, thesuccesscorps.com. I'm all over Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Friend request me, send me a message. Let me know that you heard the show with me, Steve and Cameron. Be great to connect with people. I've got the Create, Launch, Monetize podcast. I've got the second podcast, that's episode 14, coming out today, called From No Worth to Self-Worth.
Love that.
And that's the new podcast that we launched this year to find people in their darkest moments and bring them out to give them more worth in their life. That's the whole premise of the show. You're in a dark night of the soul moment. How do you get out? Because that's where I was. And that's it.
That's incredible.
Great. Yeah, I was actually, I don't think the episode came out yet, but I know I was blessed to be on your podcast.
2 more weeks. Two more weeks, and your episode will come out.
Looking forward to that. It was a blast being on with you, and you have an incredible community that you're putting together for sure.
Thank you.
All right, Sean, you rocked it. This is the way we end our show. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to remind everybody that next week, episode 79, JD Gershbein with Owlish Communications, Connecting with Style. That will be on same bad time, same bad channel next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. And we send everybody off every week to go out there and crush it. So we count down. So hopefully you'll count down with us,
Absolutely.
Sean, and everybody out there.
Let's not forget about our sponsors, right?
Oh,
Thank you.
Yes.
We got West
What a
Lemos.
great co-host.
And then also our there you go, sales connector with the West Lemos, and Blaze Your Own Trail with Jordan Mendoza. So great. We appreciate those guys big time. Great resource. Check them out.
Mendoza's a beast.
Masterconnector.show, and you can find out more about them and some of the links to them. But we appreciate you, Sean. You brought the light. You're inspiring everybody, and make sure this week, let's go out there and crush it. And so let's count down here. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Crush it. Go out there and have an amazing week, everybody. We'll see you next week. Sean, thank you. The Master Connector and Cameron Toth saying goodbye for now. We'll see you next week.
Peace out.
Steve Spiro, you're a mentor, you're a consultant, you're a business owner, but most importantly, you're a host of your own show, and you're also a master connector.
Steve Spiro is one of my idols, and I love listening to everything that he does. He's such a dynamic individual.
Some of the topics I really enjoy speaking on is how to really connect, whether it be in person or through social media. I love to lead with my weaknesses. I lead with, my vulnerabilities. It's fine because I'm okay with who I am. Number 2 is how to go from being inward focused, self-focused, into others focused. Be willing to give and go out there and look to serve. That will attract the right things. Another one is on leveraging LinkedIn to really grow your business. You could reach a lot more people. You could broadcast a message to people that actually consented to want to know you. And then lastly, overcoming big obstacles.
I love sharing. I was a shy, introverted kid, picked on, bullied, learning disabled, dyslexic, really in a dark place. I was really in a box in a shell, and I've been able to break out of that box. And so I love being able to inspire people and really help them. So the Master Connector was born.
The world is my networking event, right? I meet people all the time. My goal is to meet 3 strangers every single day.
Steve is open to meeting you. You should set up a face-to-face with Steve. One little conversation can really change your life.